How's it going, meatheads? I'm connecting with you for another video right now. I've determined that my GoPro mic adapter is no longer working, so I'm trying to do a voiceover of this video as I'm rolling out of my driveway, going for a quick evening ride. Little did I know that this would be the last video I'm going to record for 2022, sadly. Haven't been out riding much. It's been kind of a crap year for riding. I've only put on about 6,000 miles this year. Normally I'm up around 10,000 miles most times. As you guys have seen in the past, I'm going to get up with you guys here quick as I'm finally making it out of town, skipping over that boringness. And we're going to get to the topic of today's video. I think we're really going to just talk about 2022 as a whole, why I haven't been riding as much, and mainly it comes down to the fact that life has gotten a lot busier this year. I've taken up a lot more responsibility as a senior member of the laboratory I work in. So unfortunately that means that I just have to work a lot more overtime, have a lot more people to oversee. I'm obviously not the manager of the whole place, but the day-to-day operations really does come down to me to get done and make sure that the lab is staying functional. And this year we have had a huge record number of sale months. Like, we've broken sales record for at least 6 months in a row. So, like, good thing, helps me out, keeps my wallet looking pretty decent, but does mean that I have a lot less time to do things that I like to do. I've also been trying to be better about going to the gym more consistently as well. So unfortunately that does mean that less riding. Also didn't take any real trips this year. The motorcycle didn't go out to the hills with me in May. It was rather cold in early May, so I didn't really feel like taking my bike. Plus it was with my family, and generally speaking, when I go out on vacations with my family, I really don't get to ride a whole lot as we're always doing stuff as a group. So a lot of times I end up just not riding as many miles anyway. And then my wife and I went out on our Utah trip, which we drove my truck. It was just the easiest way to get out there. My truck has a big gas tank. Actually got really good gas mileage out there. So yeah, in the end, it was not really a good year for riding for me. Plus, I've had a few things need to be maintenanced on my bike. I know I needed my bike maintained as far as brake pads, fluids changed in the hydraulic clutch and in the both brake front and rear. My neck bearing was broken at one point early on in the year too, so that hurt, along with my truck's transmission breaking in February. It was definitely a struggle year for braking stuff. So the only thing that I really changed with the bike was the exhaust, which I've covered in the channel before, but I swapped from a big radius 2-2 exhaust to a Bassani Road Rage mid-length pipe. Re-dynoed my bike. We made 110 horsepower, 114 torque, which was up on horsepower but down on torque compared to the 2-2s, but those early numbers might have not been accurate. These numbers might not be accurate, as I discussed earlier. The person I do work with who does my mechanical work, does the dyno tuning, he's got an older dyno, an older computer that runs it, so he can't really calibrate it, so it's going off of a really old calibration file. If you know anything about instrumentation and whatnot, realistically you should be calibrating it relatively frequently to be accurate, but we'll digress from that. I'm starting to make my way into Sioux Falls now. I'm just putzing around for the day. I don't really have a plan as to what I'm doing during this ride. I'm just more or less like recording because it's one of the last times I've gotten out and going for a ride. But it does bring up to the question, with winter coming up, what am I going to do to the bike? Is there going to be anything that's really going to change with the bike? And honestly, I have some ideas as to what I want to do with the bike for over winter, but I'm going to throw them out to you right now over this video, but we'll see if any of them actually come to fruition. The first thing I'm thinking about doing is getting a new front fender. I've run without a front fender for a while now, But I'm finally getting to the point where I think that I really should be having a front fender on my bike. Whether I go carbon fiber or if I just get a steel one and paint it over winter, I'm not really sure. The steel option is obviously the cheaper one, but yeah, I also have a carbon fiber one in mind that I'd like to do. I'd prefer to run like a mid-length where I actually get some protection to my oil cooler, as I've had no protection for my oil cooler for quite a number of miles now, and it definitely looks a little beat up. We'll roll up here on the stoplight, and you can hear the cam a little bit.
Be doing here in Sioux Falls or anything, but
yeah, she always sounds good, minty, nice and minty there at idle. Let her eat. But the other thing that I had in mind potentially to do was swapping out my headlight. I've enjoyed this stock one, but having seen some guys with some much more powerful front headlights and high beams and low beams, like, I've really been tempted to go to a different front headlight. Specifically, I want to go with the Rogue Rider Industries Blazemaker, I think is what they call it. Their headlight looks the best in my opinion, as well as being reasonably priced. I know that on their website it's about $400, but a buddy of mine, Colton, I think has a connection that he can get it for a little cheaper, so that might be an option. At this point in the video, I tried to get some of the D-cell popping or D-cell sounds as I'm rolling down this hill, but as you can tell, most of it is just wind noise, unfortunately. There's nothing quite like this bike when you're going downhill and just holding throttle as it's just blah, 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 you know, making all its burble noises as it's going downhill. It's something else, honestly. I get a lot of compliments from my buddies and people that I meet that this bike sounds like the best that they've heard for the M8, but obviously I think that they haven't heard enough M8s with cams and exhaust to really judge and put me at the top. But yeah, so the headlight was one option, the front fender is another one. Obviously, performance wise, I'd love to do the front suspension. I'm a Legends fanatic. I have the Legend Revo A's in the back. I have that video up here on the channel of my first thoughts and impressions, as well as some other riding with them on, and I've been very, very happy with them, and I would love to do their front suspension, their Axio drop-ins for the front. I know that it usually drops the front end by about an inch and a half, but at the same time, I'd really like to I like using the Legends products, and I don't really feel the need to jack up my front end with a longer tubes do the +2 cartridges. I just don't feel the need to. I do ride relatively hard, but not hard enough to justify doing new fork tubes and everything. So I feel like that might be the way I go. But we'll see. It's an $800 purchase, and we'll have to see where the money is. And if you guys do want to help with that, you obviously can purchase some stuff for yourself using tuckerspeed.com. They do carry Legends, Olens, Bassani, a bunch of other companies out there, as well as helmets and other gear that you might need for riding, especially coming into winter. If you guys are looking to do some winter upgrades, you can use my code MEATHEAD to save 10% off of your order. It also gives back to the channel, helps me grow, helps me buy parts and make more content. As I'm rolling through here, this is actually Falls Park. It's one of the main attractions here in Sioux Falls. It's a pretty nice place if you come into Sioux Falls. This is definitely one of the only few attractions to go see, other than downtown, which is where I'm actually going to be headed. Once I get out of here, I'm heading into downtown. Definitely over the few years, it's been getting more and more revitalized, and they keep adding more to downtown. They have a little concert area. It's really nice hanging out downtown, some good bars, and there's a couple arcade bars and stuff, so it's pretty nice, pretty, I guess you could say, trendy downtown. So, but as far as what I plan on doing for 2022 or 2023, I should say, Well, a few of my buddies, my riding group buddies, are trying to organize up a ride, an actual road trip. It might be over 4 or 5 days. I definitely want to get my mic adapter fixed up, replaced, so that way I can get POV riding footage and sound, onboard sound of me experiencing it. We're not really sure as to where we're going to go. I know it's been suggested to go out east towards like Tail of the Dragon and all that, but I've also put my 2 cents in of saying go west out to like Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons into Salt Lake, kind of do a westward trip. I always have a big fan of the Rockies and those taller mountains, but I've not been out east either, so I'm not going to complain about that. A lot of good riding roads either way, but it's not been decided as to what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, so that's going to be the biggest thing, is figuring out when and where we're going. But that is on the plate tentatively, and I'm looking forward to it. At least we'll start that next year with a motorcycle trip, which will be really nice compared to this year. As I said, we didn't get any real motorcycle trips in. And for 2023, it really is kind of up in the air. I'm hoping for a good year, a little bit better than this year. Hoping that I can have accumulated a little bit more income to do some more stuff with the bike. I would love to upgrade the motor a little bit more, maybe do a big bore kit or something like that, but I think that realistically the 107 is a really good motor, and I've been really happy with it, with the amount of miles that I've put on it and the reliability I've had with the cam upgrade and everything to it. So it's hard to go bigger when you know that what you have right now has no real problems to it. And most of the time with big bore kits, if you don't go all in, you will end up hurting yourself in the end, because little things just start failing one after another, and they just get to be a headache. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. As I'm rolling here through downtown, yeah, this is the main avenue, Phillips Avenue. There was closed, that one little section, so I had to take a little back road around, go up here on Main Avenue, and then head back down towards Phillips Avenue. Phillips Avenue in Sioux Falls is the hub for all of your restaurants and pubs and bars, and there's a distillery here at the corner, as you can see. There's a couple there's an axe throwing and stuff. There's some other shops and whatnot in downtown. It's pretty nice to hang out there for a little bit, but otherwise it gets crowded pretty easily in the evenings. I think this was like a Wednesday night that I was out riding, so not outrageously busy by any means. Yeah. 2023, hopefully you all had a good 2022, maybe better than mine, put on some more miles. I hope you all did what you could to your bikes and get out when you could. I'm hoping for close to 8,000 miles next year. I don't like putting milestones, and I say milestones as a setting for how many miles I should put on, but when you own a touring bike, it's kind of easy to set yourself that way, to say, well, I have this big bike, I have this touring motorcycle, I should be touring on it, I should be going on trips and stuff, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. And in the case of this year, it really didn't, and I'm hoping that this next year I'll just mark off some days to actually go out and get some trips in, even if they're short 3-day ones and whatnot. But yeah, I'm hoping to do some upgrades over winter, some small stuff, nothing too major. Maybe suspension being the major one, front suspension, but that's not a guarantee by any means. The other two options are literally about the same price as the one in total, so we'll see what ends up happening. Now I'm going to turn right here and head on through Phillips Avenue here. As you can see, there's a restaurant, there's a couple theaters here and there. This is kind of the life of Sioux Falls. A lot of people spend time down here on Thursday and Friday nights, but I think this video is going to be coming to an end here shortly. I appreciate y'all for watching and listening to me talk as a voiceover here. Please like and subscribe and stick around to the channel. bell notifications so that way you know when I upload. But I think this is going to be the last video of the year, guys. Thank you very much.